Hello, everybody. Welcome to Canada Plays, presented by Asmodee Canada and Lion Rampant Imports. I'm Mandy Hutchinson, formerly of The Dice Tower, now with Salt and Sass Games. Well, we have something very special for you. We have people with us from Access Plus. This is new for me too, so I'm actually very excited to hear what they have to talk about today. So we have Sarah and Misha. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And we can't just let you come out there with just first names. We want to know a little bit more about you, about Access Plus. So would you mind introducing yourself and telling us what you do?
Yeah. I'm Sarah. Thanks for receiving us.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm brand manager. I'm in charge of the development of the Access Plus games.
Oh, wonderful. Fantastic.
And I'm Michel Boris. I'm the head of the studio Access Plus.
Okay, perfect. So is this something new, or is this something that's been a company that's existed for a long time?
Access Plus is a part of Asmodee Group.
Excellent. Okay.
And the studio and the first game were released last year.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is great. I've heard very good things, so I'm very excited to hear what you have to talk about today for us. So I have some questions that I've prepared in advance, so make sure we get all of them answered for all of you who are unable to be here today. So let's start off with, we talked a little bit about the story of Access Plus. We just touched on it. What does the studio represent, and how do we get to where we are today? Like, what's the spark?
I think it was 3 years ago, we have some result of a study based on Alzheimer people and the relation with the game. And we have good result for the people directly, for sure, but also for the caregivers and the environment, that they were very pleased to have game adapted for their use. So this was the spark that gave us the idea to develop this to a broader audience, to children, adults, or elderly who have cognitive disabilities, and to adapt the games for them.
This is fantastic. As someone who has ADHD, but I want to delve a little bit deeper in that. Is it just specifically for, potentially people of Alzheimer's, or is it anybody who's on that cognitive, has that special need or challenges with cognitive disabilities?
We want to provide game for everyone who has cognitive disabilities, no matter the disease behind or whatever the reasons. It's just to provide the joy of play, the capacity to have social interaction or cognitive stimulation for people who have disabilities, and to provide these games for caregivers or therapists or people who are taking care of these people, and give the game very accessible in terms of rules, in terms of component. It was a real purpose behind the Access Plus initiative.
Okay, this is great because you don't hear this too often, so it's really nice that something like that's in place. So I have other questions for you, but I know we have some games set up here as well, and this would be great for people to see maybe an example of some of the things that you were talking about. So what are the games that we have here today? Can we talk a little bit about these?
Yes, so we have the 3 first games released in October 2022.
Oh, fantastic.
There are 3 adaptations of famous games from Asmodee catalog.
Oh, wonderful.
And we have Dobble. Dobble is a game for attention, maybe, or...
For me.
And it's to play together. In this version of Dobble, we erase all the difficulties for people living with cognitive disorders. So
fantastic.
Everyone around the table is a player like everyone else, even if you have a disease or something like that. So that's very cool to have to share a moment together.
Yes, and I noticed that it's in a box. I know I have variations of it, and it came in like a tin.
Yeah.
So is this a new format specifically? I love that. Okay, because not everybody, might be able to open it, and a box might be a nice way to access that.
Yes, because we have made adaptation on the cards, bigger and more
Thicker.
Okay.
So,
and it's important to us that the Access Plus version are not the same than the original version, of course.
Okay, no, and that makes sense. That's what you're trying to do. And I notice I'm familiar with Timeline. This is another one that I have that's very good because I teach. I was a teacher for a long time, and this was one of the ones that we used in the classroom.
Yes.
So this is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about Timeline?
Yes, so Timeline are a bigger card than the original version. That's very important.
Yes.
And the very specific thing about Timeline is we had a deck with personal experiences. So you can play with your own life events. That's a very good tool to help caregivers to speak with the players.
Yes, absolutely. No, I love the fact that you're saying bigger because I know even people who have sight challenges, even myself, I like it when things are just a little bit bigger for me. It's easier to pick up and see. So that's very much appreciated. This is the only game I'm not familiar with, Cortex Challenge. What's this about?
Cortex Challenge is a challenge game.
Yes.
So we have different types of challenge, 8 exactly, inside the box, and you can play with all of them to work with all the cognitive function or select one you want.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so this is next on my list, everybody, because I like all of the ideas that are being presented, and I think you will too.
But maybe you know the name under Braintopia?
Yes.
It's
the same.
It's the same. Right?
Oh, okay. See, I'm even learning things in this interview. So Braintopia is the same premise as Cortex. Fantastic. No, that's really great to know. And I know, like I said, a lot of these come in a smaller imprint, so it's really nice to see it in the boxes for this for these types of games. So can you tell us a little bit more about the components in the game that we may have missed?
Yeah, one of the most important thing is the different level of difficulty inside the box. So you can play. You can start with the very easier level and learn to play with the game, or if one day you're tired or something is bad or anything else, you can play and succeed the game, and that's very important. And then you can go to another level, more difficult, and then again and again and again, and there is a progression feeling, so that's very powerful for the people.
Absolutely. How happy are you when you get to one level? Oh, I did it on easy, now I can do medium. So no, that's fantastic. I think people will appreciate the diversity in levels for that. No, thank you. And sorry, is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Maybe something a little detail, but it could be important. All the material inside the boxes are washable, so you can use it in collectivity with different people, and with all you will live the past years. We think it's something important.
That's actually number one, I'm sure, for a lot of people. So really appreciate that you can actually wash the components of the game. That's fantastic. Thank you. And let's talk about research behind the games. I know I got a little ahead. I was a little excited to hear about the games, but can you tell me a little bit about the research behind the games?
Sure. Maybe you remember the Gaming Lab project. You have participated to one of the events of it.
I did. They were fun.
And so it was a collaboration between Asmodee and the research and the academic people to study the value of the game and the effect of the game. And so we were able to connect with a lot of researchers working on board games. So that gave us a good network. And after the Alzheimer's study with one of them, we started the Access Plus project, and we were able to connect to a lot of researchers very eager to work with us on these adaptations. So we have a very partnership with them to work from A to Z on the product, on the selection of the game, on testing the game directly with the patients with different age, as we have already told, and to give us some feedback on the adaptation to make, to try them again and again, and after that to deploy the game and to use the game. So the partnerships, once again, with all the experts and researchers are very from A to Z.
Oh my goodness. So, a lot of time and effort and testing goes into a lot of the research.
And we have put their expertise into the box, into the rule book. They give some clues and recommendation to use the game in a specific circumstances. And this is available also on our website.
Okay, so something you can just go on site and get all of this information as well.
All the scientific background of Access Plus is very open, and you can have access to it.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. So people have a place to go. How many countries are currently distributing Access Plus titles? Let's start with this one.
3. 3 countries, France, Belgium, and Canada.
Okay, yay, Canada. That's wonderful. Okay, and what does the next phase of the rollouts look like in terms of locations and timing?
In 2023, we will have 6 new countries with 6 new translations.
Oh, wow. That's impressive, because that's big.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are very excited because we can see this kind of initiative is find people very enthusiastic everywhere in the world. So it's very great.
No, it's nice to have that access for other parts of the world, because they're going to be like, well, they have it, we want it too. So it's great to hear that you are expanding. Okay, so what has the initial feedback been on the games, and can you share any specific examples that have had the most impact, whether it's you personally or on the initiative as a whole?
maybe the first surprise for us was Access Plus at the beginning was very targeting for the professionals.
Right.
And when we have announced the studio in May 2022, we have an amazing feedback from the global audience. Like everyone have someone who have some difficulties or some diseases that need this adaptation, like a cousin, an aunt, a grandpa, or someone around you. So the global public wanted to have the game, and we needed to change quickly our strategy to distribution the game, to give the game accessible to everyone, not only the professional, but also the general public. So that was, I think, one of our biggest surprises to start the story of Access Plus. So it was a good one, yeah.
No, it's a great one. Do you have any stories that hit close to home or affected people in a good, positive way?
Yeah, it's a story is very emotional for me.
Oh, okay.
One time when we tested the double Spot It game in with the people elderly. One time the game would stay into the house.
Oh, okay.
And there is a grandpa with his grandchildren come and see the box and say, "Oh, I know this game. I know the purple hand."
Right.
And they play together all this afternoon. And as his grandpa is old and has important disease, they didn't share some big thing together, so that's a very great moment for both of them.
That's so great. I love they recognize the hand, because I'm going to be honest, that's how I recognized it too. I'm like, I know this. And then they had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's always the best as a gamer. That's what you want to hear, right? People are enjoying the games that you were part of or creating. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, what is your long-term dream vision for Access Plus? It's a big one, right? I know.
To go first?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a dream, but for me, I would like to offer games for everyone can play together in family with your friends, and even if some of you have difficulties or some disorders, you can play together and have a link and share something. It's very important.
Oh, it's so important, absolutely. Especially when you can bring people together at the table, right, in one way.
Yeah, and we have discussed about the fact that we want to develop the range, of course, and to develop the distribution worldwide. But Access Plus is like an initiative to give the game more accessible and more inclusive. But maybe a desire for us is that feeling is coming more into all the studio and all the industry, and not specifically to Access Plus. So it's more to providing like a good initiative into our industry.
Yeah, exactly. We need more of that. I mean, you can never have too much, right? Accessibility, that's a big thing, I think, in the industry. I'm glad to see that you're doing that. So I know I asked a lot of very big questions. Is there anything that I may have missed that you said, hey, no, we need to know about that?
We released these 3 games together because they are complementary.
Okay.
And with all of them, you can play in different way, but have different options to work together. And we hope we have beautiful, different new games soon.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's a set. You need to have all 3 in the collection.
But everyone has his favorite.
Yes, exactly. Of course. I mean, I won't say what mine is. That's not good interviewing, but I do have one. What about you, Misha? Anything you want to add?
We wanted to have a specific visual representation on Access Plus to see the purpose behind the range, to have this therapeutic approach, and to differentiate the games adapted from the original one.
Right.
And like Sarah said, the complementarity on the cognitive function stimulate by the game. And we are starting by the 3, but the next one will provide a more wide experience for the player.
Right, for everybody. Well, this is great, but I think this is a wonderful start. And I mean, I already know all of these, so I imagine a lot of people are going to be in the same boat and have people that would benefit greatly from this. So is there anything else you wanted to finish off on before we close for today?
Maybe something could be important too.
Please.
The whole games are in paper only, no plastic inside.
Oh,
with,
okay.
Like
to recyclable?
Recyclable.
Okay, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we give a part of our benefits to an association for people, for caregivers.
For caregivers?
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, because I mean, that's always an area that could use some help. So very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Sarah and Misha, for being here.
Thank you,
and
Mandy.
thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.